You know, and that's like a big central thing. There's many chapters that somehow touch on that, no?
Yes.
You know, and the idea of being a misfit and not fitting in, and I think that from Jewish community is really good, really nicely geared for everybody who fits in. If you fit in the box, and the box is pretty, there's a lot of people that are in that box. I don't really know numbers, but I'm going to guess about 90% the From community fits very nicely in the box. They go about their happy lives. They have their 6.8 kids. They send them all yeshiva, all the normal yeshivas, and everybody comes through happy, and everybody has their kids, and everybody's doing great. And then there's 10% of us who don't fit the box for whatever reason. And when you don't fit the box, and you're not part of the mainstream in the From community, you're going to feel very isolated, alienated, an outcast. In many ways, you can be a pariah. And the From community is not good. They don't have a good track record of dealing with people that don't fit in the box. I think it's fair to say that. And by the way, Levi is a person who doesn't fit in the box, and I know this firsthand because I'm reading his autobiography, and I'm going to say the only box he fits is probably like some sort of box, you know, that people have put their animal in. You know, it's like the cat house. You know, it's like some box for the cat. You know, which is a step up because when he was trying to convert, he was in the dog house, so he's moved inside, and now he's in the cat box. You know, with his litter. You know, and that's. He even complains in this book, which I didn't know until I read your book, that you complain too. You do some complaining yourself of how, you know, they're not accepting you and blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking at them. By the way, there's a lot of parallels. I'm going to talk about that when I finish the book. I'm taking some notes on it, so I'm going back to the beginning. But there's a lot of parallels between us. I don't know if you realize it. Maybe you realized that after you read my book.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of... That really freaked me out. There's some things in there that just like, whoa, it's just like me. So anyways, when you don't fit in the box, being from Jewish, it's not easy, and I talk about it because it's very taboo that I've found in my life to speak about some of these things. You don't hear Frummies talking about not fitting in the box. You don't hear about it. You don't hear about, you know, somebody come out and talking about what it's like, you know, when you're failing at keeping your hands off of whatever, you know, if it's women, you talk about it in your book, or you know, a guy, you know, somebody who's in the same sex, or maybe you're married and you're fooling around on the internet. And my book explores all those things. You must have loved that chapter because it's right out of porn. It's right in your wheelhouse. I've talked about how there's a chapter talking about how guys who are married, a lot of them have a tough time with what's called the Nida period, and they'll end up flirting on the internet with other women or checking out porn and masturbating, and this is what goes on, and it's not talked about. It's like brushed under the rug. You know, Frummies don't want to talk about it. You know, and like, hey, I'm going to talk about it. If there's something that's taboo that actual Frummies, that actual Jewish people are dealing with and suffering with, I'm going to talk about it, and that's what my book hits on. Is that a more fair synopsis?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, well, I think I'll segue to, I was in therapy this past week, and I talked about the tremendous anxiety I feel over the holidays, the Jewish holidays, and over Sabbath, because these are particularly designed to be spent with your family, and I'm not married and I don't have kids, and I've made myself a pariah in my adopted community. I converted to Orthodox Judaism, but I did it in such a way with my life that I made sure that I'd be unwelcome in much of it. And so I'm kind of isolated and feeling very alone, particularly on the Sabbath and holidays, because the rest of the time I can just, you know, run around and do my thing, and I don't think about how alone I am. But on the Sabbath, I have to confront it. And so I was in shul, and it was Sukkot, and I was just kind of the Ma'ariv was ending, and I was just kind of standing there, wondering if anyone would invite me home. And I didn't want to ask for anything, because who I am, where I've been. And so I was just kind of standing there, and the prayers were kind of coming to an end, and I just feeling tremendous anxiety. Is anyone going to ask? Should I ask? I'm standing there like a fish out of water. Everyone else has a place to go, and I don't. So I just leave. And I just can't stand the anxiety anymore. I don't like to ask for help. I will occasionally, but I don't like it. And it was a very akin to something that happened when I was about 7 years old. It was a boiling hot day like it is right now, and I was at the river, and we met some people, and they offered me an ice cream. I really, really, really wanted the ice cream. Somehow there was like a part of me that said no, and so I said no, and they kept offering me, and I just said no, thank you. But I really wanted that ice cream. So I'm walking out of shul, and this guy goes, so you have a place to go? And I go, no. And he goes, oh, well, let me ask for you and get you set up. And I go, no, that's okay, I just want to go home. And I'm just feeling like huge anxiety just walking with the guy, because I feel like such a loser. And so my therapist asked me, so what do you say to yourself? What could you say to yourself in these moments? Because they're quite common, where like I'll enter a room and say it's filled with people, and I don't feel up to making friends and starting things, or just this social anxiety. It's sometimes crippling. And so I reeled off to the therapist all sorts of very lurid conquests that I've had. That was what came to mind when I had to talk to myself and justify my existence, that I'm a worthy person. It never occurred to me to say, no, because I do mitzvahs, or because I love God and God loves me, or never occurred to me to say because God died on a cross and saved me from my sins. So it was like a very visceral answer, and it wasn't the answer that my therapist was expecting. So what do you say to yourself when you're in a situation where you're feeling a tremendous amount of social anxiety?
Me?
Yeah.
What do I say, or what do I do?
What do you say to yourself, and what do you do?
I'm not sure what I say to myself, but I might go into a panic.
Yeah.
So there's not really a talking to myself. It's just this throbbing, get the fuck out, get the fuck out, and I start heading for the exit.
But you've got to be saying something to yourself to bring on the panic.
I don't know. There's a conversation. It's not a coherent conversation.
Because if you could reconstruct what you were thinking, what you're saying to yourself, then, for me, it was just the shame of being a loser. That's what.
Oh, I get that. I'll tell you where I get that. When I walk in, I can't go in a shul by day, and I'll tell you what. Everybody else is wearing a tallis.
Right? Yeah.
Everyone else, all the tallis, right? Everybody who wears tallis. Married men wear tallis.
Yeah.
I've never been married. Yeah. I don't wear a tallis. So right away, I look different, and it's okay, great. So I stand out, and everyone's going to stare at me and go, oh, it's the older, single loser guy.
Yeah.
So I might as well just have that, wear a football jersey, and on the back say, older, loser, single guy, and have my age as the number,
Yeah.
And walk around, yes, I'm that old, and everybody thinks I'm gay.
Yeah.
Right? So it's
And I think it goes even deeper than that, because I think what's most shameful is that why am I the older, single, loser guy? And that's because, there's something wrong, broken, bad, about me, that I'm 44 and have not been able to attain a wife. So it's not just that they see me as a single, older, loser guy, which they do, and which I don't like, but you go the step beyond that. Because if you're 44 and you've never been married, that says something really significant about you in traditional Jewish life, because you have totally failed in the most elementary of mitzvahs that you're supposed to have accomplished. So to have made it to 44 and no one has wanted to marry me who I was interested in, means that my totality, there's something something really off, bad, broken, wrong, screwed up, frightening, scary. So for me, it's the step beyond the older single loser guy, because the older single loser guy is just an arrow pointing to there's something really wrong here.
So you really shit on yourself.
Well, I'm sure you do too.
No, I just walk in and I go, oh God, here we go. And everybody's staring at me. And, you know, they could be staring at me because they